You know, when you picture a massive ship fighting its way through a storm, what do you think actually makes it seaworthy? Is it just the thickness of the steel, the raw power of the engine? Well, it turns out the most important parts of any ship are completely invisible. Let's get into it.
So, let me ask you, what do you think it is? What's the single most critical piece of a ship? The hull that's keeping all that water out? The giant engine pushing it forward? Maybe the rudder that lets it steer?
The real answer isn't a physical part at all. Nope. The most vital component on any vessel is the trained mind of the officer on the bridge. It's their deep, hard-won knowledge of the forces at play that truly keeps that ship and everyone on it safe.
Okay, so why is that knowledge so incredibly important? Well, because a ship is in a constant, brutal battle with these immense, invisible forces that are literally trying to tear it apart from the second it leaves the dock. I want you to imagine the ship as this massive steel bridge. But instead of being supported on two ends, its support is always moving. One second, a giant wave is lifting up the middle, leaving the front and back to just droop. The next, two waves are lifting the ends, and the middle is sagging down. So how in the world does it not just snap in half?
The answer comes down to understanding two critical forces, hogging and sagging. These are the main stresses that a ship's entire structure is specifically engineered to handle day in and day out.
And this slide really breaks it down perfectly. Think about bending a plastic ruler. When a ship hogs, its deck is being stretched apart. That's tension. At the same time, its keel at the bottom is being squeezed together. That's compression. Sagging is just the total opposite. So you can see a ship is kind of like a living thing, constantly flexing between these two states.
All right, so the ship is strong enough not to break. That's a good start. But what about just flipping over? This brings us to the incredible science of stability.
If there is one single number an officer on watch lives and breathes by to keep the ship upright, it is this one, the metacentric height, or just GM. It's basically the distance between the ship's center of gravity and this other theoretical point called the metacenter. What it really tells you is a ship's immediate desire to right itself after a wave shoves it over.
And this leads to a very simple and very brutal rule of physics. If your GM is positive, the forces of nature will work to roll the ship back upright. But if that number becomes negative, those exact same forces will work to flip it completely upside down. It is a knife's edge that the crew has to manage all the time.
But here's the catch. It's not as simple as just wanting the biggest GM you can get. There's a really important trade-off. See, a big GM makes a ship stiff. It snaps back upright really violently. It's super uncomfortable and can even damage cargo. A small GM makes a ship tender, which gives it this long, gentle, easy roll. So the real art is in how you load the ship to get that perfect GM for the conditions you're about to face. So you've got a strong ship, a stable ship, it can handle a lot. But what happens when it comes face to face with the single most powerful event on this planet? This is where knowledge stops being about safety and becomes purely about survival.
Just let that sink in for a second. This is not just some bad weather. A hurricane is an engine of unimaginable power. You cannot fight it. You cannot go through it. The only possible way to win is to not play its game.
Now, to a meteorologist on land, this is a weather map. But to a mariner at sea, this is a battlefield schematic. It shows the storm's secrets and, most importantly, it shows its weaknesses.
And right here, this is the critical piece of intelligence. A hurricane isn't symmetrical. Because the storm itself is moving forward, one side of it, the dangerous semicircle, is adding its forward motion to its already insane wind speeds. But the other side, the navigable semicircle, actually subtracts it. The goal is simple. It's absolute. Get to the navigable side. And this is how they do it. This isn't just blind panic. It's a precise, calculated, almost geometric procedure. By using the wind direction and the falling barometer, an officer figures out exactly where they are in relation to the storm's eye, and then they execute a very specific maneuver to escape into that safer part of the storm. It's a high-stakes puzzle, and you solve it with knowledge and skill.
So, we have a ship that won't break in half, a ship that knows how to stay upright, and a crew that knows how to outsmart a hurricane. What does all of this really tell us about what it means for a ship to be seaworthy?
When you look at these blueprints, you're seeing a total marvel of engineering. It's incredible. But a ship isn't just a collection of steel plates and wires and machinery. The physical thing itself, that's only half the equation. Because in the end, seaworthiness isn't something that's just built into the steel. It's something carried in the mind of the person in command. It's the complete mastery of these invisible forces, the stress, the stability, the weather, that transforms a simple object into a truly seaworthy vessel.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. As we sail into this new age of automation and AI and remote-controlled everything, what does all this tell us about the irreplaceable value of deep human expertise for when the wind really starts to howl, the waves start to build, and that barometer starts to drop?